Antarctica might look like nothing but a frozen wasteland, but it hides more secrets than you'd expect. Under all the ice, strange discoveries have left even the most experienced scientists and explorers confused, and sometimes terrified. From mysterious fossils that don't fit our understanding of history, to insane abandoned structures that shouldn't exist, these finds raise more questions than answers. Get ready to dive into 30 of the creepiest, most unsettling discoveries ever made in this icy, isolated land.
But what you can argue is the appearance of huge holes in the ice the size of South Carolina or Colorado states. The mysterious hole was first discovered in 2016. It was discovered again in 2017. Initially, it had an area of 3,700 square miles, or 9,600 square kilometers, but gradually it grew into a gigantic 30,000 square miles, or 78,000 square kilometers. What if we tell you that underneath the thick layer of ice and permafrost, mysterious creatures live? Sound improbable? But scientists have already found something interesting right here beneath this dome. Yes, Antarctica is almost entirely covered with glaciers, but underneath them there is conventional terrain and even some active volcanoes. Recently, the scientists discovered that the heat from one of the volcanoes has melted the glacier, but it wasn't due to a one-time eruption, rather a continuous heat radiation that has been occurring for so long that it led to formation of warm caves under the ice. These caves under the ice dome are located on the Erebus Mountain on the island of Rosa. And it's not just a single big cave, we're talking about a whole labyrinth of corridors and rooms inside the cave. They were created by the stream that rises up from the volcano. Scientists believe that there could be some form of life deep down in these caves. It can get heat from the volcano, water from the ice, and sunlight coming down through the glacier.
Number 27. The mystery of the Blood Falls. There's a waterfall that doesn't flow with water, but with something way creepier: blood. The blood falls in Antarctica's McMurdo Dry Valleys. This bizarre phenomenon sees a crimson flow oozing from the Taylor Glacier, spilling down onto the icy surface of Lake Bonny below. The stark contrast between the bright red liquid and the white frozen landscape is enough to send shivers down your spine. For years, scientists were scratching their heads, trying to figure out what caused this gruesome red color. At first, they thought it might be red algae. But Antarctica's super harsh environment isn't exactly a spa day for plant life. Other theories blamed rusty minerals or even special types of bacteria. Finally, in 2017, science cracked the case with a little help from radar technology. They peered inside the glacier and discovered the source: an ancient, super salty lake trapped beneath the ice for millions of years. Over time, water from the lake escaped as ice, leaving behind concentrated salts in the remaining liquid. This, combined with all the iron hanging around, keeps the brine nice and fluid, even though it's way below freezing. When this iron-rich brine finally busts out of the glacier and meets the fresh air, it oxidizes and turns a dramatic shade of red, creating the bloodfall effect. Number 30. Hidden lakes under the ice. Scientists have actually discovered around 400 subglacial lakes beneath the continent's icy surface. Just think. These mysterious bodies of water are completely cut off from sunlight, some potentially existing in darkness for millions of years. One of the biggest stars of this hidden network is Lake Vostok. It's basically a giant version of Lake Ontario, but buried under a whopping 2.5 miles of Antarctic ice. These lakes are remnants from a warmer past when Antarctica had a completely different climate. When the continent froze over, surface lakes got trapped and buried beneath expanding glaciers. The crazy thing is that the immense pressure from all that ice keeps the water liquid even though it's way below freezing. Some of these lakes might even have their own unique ecosystems with tiny organisms adapted to this alien world. Researchers are still hunting for more hidden lakes, with estimates suggesting there could be over 1,000 of them waiting to be discovered. That's not the only thing under the ice. This next one takes this whole thing to the next level.
Unlike the North Pole, the South Pole is not just a frozen ocean, but a continent under glaciers. These glaciers weigh hundreds of thousands of tons. All this mass has been pressing the land down for millions of years. No wonder that the lowest land point on the planet was found here. The find was made by a team of researchers directed by scientists from the University of California, Irvine. They found a canyon that was particularly affected by the ice pressure. This place is located under the Denman Glacier in East Antarctica. Its depth is stunning, 2.1 miles or 3.4 kilometers below sea level. In comparison, New York, which is situated on a group of islands off the ocean coast and therefore obviously in the lowland, is located at an altitude of 32 feet or 10 meters above sea level. Denver, which is considered to be one of the largest mountain cities in the United States, is located at an altitude of a mile or 1.6 kilometers above sea level. Given that the minimum thickness of the ocean crust varies between 3.1 to 4.3 miles, or 5 to 7 kilometers, we can say that the glacier has pressed the mainland into the mantle of the planet almost halfway. Moreover, sometimes Antarctica shows us something not only new and unexplainable, but frighteningly large as well. For example, the giant face which was spotted on Google Earth on the satellite images of Antarctica. It's a mountain-sized silhouette of either a human or an alien, and it resembles a fragment of a statue that appeared from under the snow and ice. A mouth, nose, and a pair of eyes are clearly visible on this scary find. Perhaps those are ruins of a civilization that once existed and that had contact with aliens. Or maybe it's just a trick of Mother Nature and what we see is just a play of snow, wind, and frost. Actually, the experts suppose that the gigantic face is really just a massive snow crust, which happens to look so bizarre.
5. See-through fish. There's a whole host of dangerous animals that visitors need to keep an eye out for, such as leopard seals and orcas. However, it's some of the smaller animals in Antarctica that have the potential to be mysterious and a little bit creepy thanks to its unique environment. Antarctica is home to some creatures that are found nowhere else on Earth. For example, a new species of translucent fish was discovered in the water in 2014. Top scientists used to think that nothing could live in the seas below the ice shelves, which are covered by more than half a mile of ice. However, this little fish defied the odds. It may not be the deadliest predator, but its see-through skin and visible brain are enough to give many people nightmares. Seeing something strange in a place like Antarctica is one thing, but hearing something strange is another. This next one will bring you face to face with that.
A mysterious spot appeared in the ice-free part of the ocean right in the middle of the icy desert. So why did this happen? For almost half a century, scientists could not explain the nature of these giant holes, called polynyas, from a Russian word that means an ice hole. It was only in 2019 that the scientists from the University of Washington gained the support of NASA in their study of the strange formations in ice using satellites. It turned out that due to the Earth's climate change, such giant holes in Antarctica will appear more and more often. The reason for this is that the cold waters of the ocean under the ice get mixed with the warm currents. The warm water then rises up and melts the ice with lightning speed. Put simply, a hole the size of an American state appeared in 3, 2, 1, well, really quickly. Why does it happen so fast? The reason is the Mount Rise Plateau with a massive seamount, a real underwater Everest. This seamount is situated close to these holes, and its shape and topography enhance the flow of the warm water toward the surface. It creates not just a current, but something more like a powerful hose stream that washes away the cold ice. However, although glaciers stretch far beyond the Antarctic continent, we should remember that under the most part of the ice, there is land.
Number 24. Singing ice. A piece of floating ice the size of France that is connected to the permanent landmass has an eerie way of communicating with explorers. The rough surface of the Ross ice shelf lets out an almost continuous hum of low tones as the wind passes across. The vibrations are too low to be heard by the human ear, but accelerated recordings reveal the mysterious sounds of the ice. It has been likened to a didgeridoo and was first heard in 2018. Number 23. Broken compasses. Everyone knows that compasses are designed to always point to the magnetic North Pole. But what happens as you travel across Antarctica and closer to the South Pole? Because Earth's magnetic fields curve around the planet's spherical shape. When they get closer to the top or bottom, they move much straighter. This means that compasses won't be reliable or may not work at all around the South Pole. Luckily, all explorers are aware of this and have other precautionary measures in place to make sure they don't get lost. However, some conspiracy theorists claim that the broken compasses are a deliberate ploy to stop people from visiting certain parts of the continent. If this is the case, what exactly is being hidden? 20. Colossal squid. The colossal squid is one of the ocean's biggest mysteries because the spotting of these guys is super rare. To shed light on this mysterious giant, a cutting-edge expedition was launched in 2022. It's a team effort. The non-profit Colossal is partnering with marine biologists and polar tourism companies. Their ambitious goal? To be the first to observe and study colossal squid in their natural Antarctic habitat by 2025. These behemoths, clocking in at over 40 feet, are the undisputed heavyweight champions of the invertebrate world. Their home lies in the crushing depths over 6,000 feet below the surface. To reach these extreme depths, the expedition is packing some serious tech. Specialized cameras and lights are essential for getting a closer look at these elusive creatures, and researchers are eager to get up close and personal to learn more about the colossal squid's anatomy, vision, how they find food, and how they behave. Number 17. Antarctica's Great Pyramid. Back in 2016, some satellite images captured something incredible, a pyramid shape peeking out from under the ice. It wasn't just any pyramid, though. This one had seriously sharp edges and a geometric design that looked eerily similar to the Great Pyramid of Giza. This Antarctic giant towered over 900 feet tall, which would make it absolutely dwarf even the biggest Egyptian pyramids. The location is also pretty mind-blowing. This pyramid is buried deep within the Ellsworth Mountains, hundreds of miles from any kind of ocean access. Scientists say the pyramid shape is probably just a result of natural weathering patterns getting to work on existing cracks in the rock. If there are any artifacts or clues about who built this thing buried inside, maybe someday we'll finally crack the code of its origins. Until then, Antarctica's Great Pyramid remains a fascinating mystery at the bottom of the world. Number 13. Ancient Penguin Graveyard. In 2016, researchers in Antarctica stumbled upon a graveyard containing a perfectly preserved penguin remains dating back over 5,000 years. They dug through the ice at Cape Aresa before finding mummified penguins. As the team dug deeper, they unearthed layer upon layer of penguin bones, fossils, and even some bodies that looked surprisingly fresh, considering they'd been chilling for millennia. Using radiocarbon dating, scientists figured out this spot was a popular hangout for Adelie penguins for at least 3 separate periods across thousands of years. The most recent penguin party ended around 800 years ago, possibly because of a frosty period called the Little Ice Age. But way back 5,000 years ago, these ancient penguins had the perfect place for raising their chicks. The super dry conditions in this part of Antarctica are what kept these penguins preserved like frozen popsicles.